Hello there, my name is Rachel. The first time you see my channel, I usually review cartoon series, anime series, or something completely random. And today we're going to talk about a review of Close Enough Season 1 and Season 2. Now, the thing is, I didn't know what to say about this cartoon is because it was super basic. In fact, even the description of the show basically nailed the whole explaining what this really is. So I just waited to season 2. Of course, I did make a first impression of it, and I just sort of struggled. If you watched that video, and I think everybody kind of struggled because it was almost exactly like a regular show. That's kind of hard to not say anything to compare like the original show. I'm not saying the original show was bad; it was really good, but it's kind of hard to remove that as your own shadow. You can actually one up yourself, create something a little bit more refreshing, a little bit more different point of view. And luckily, Close Enough actually did that around season 2. Season 1 was sort of complicated because season 1 was one of those things that you could see Quintel know what he wanted, it just he didn't know how to execute it. At least the first half. The season 1 first half was kind of struggling until you get around half of the other season that you realize, okay, you see the dynamic of the family. You see Josh and Emily, how they act around each other, understand the character, their relationship with their daughter, and they want to become a good parents. But once more, they have no idea how to be a good parent. And that itself, when they focus that would make the show so much funny, interesting. And also relatable if you have children or first time having a child. You can easily relate to that. But I love it is add more things to it, like Jason and Emily, best friends who also lived in the same apartment and then they also got married and now divorced. You see, these sort of side characters are very equally interesting as the main characters. In fact, all the cast, even the minor, is sort of blows your mind because they have layers, but the first time you watch them or they appear of the episode, you really don't get them. You don't understand what they are. I think that's sort of the trick to grab you to watch the whole season. But at the same time, I don't really think you needed to do that. I feel you could actually do the same thing. You introduce everybody, at least the first season, like the very beginning, explain who is who. I kind of hate that if you don't know what you're doing. But at the same time, that actually could work. But it also could be a double-edged sword with the writers because it's all about how you write a character to kind of spit out a little bit of information, but doesn't feel just force-feeding the viewers when it feel natural. Yeah, I can see that season 1 they sort of struggle how to do that. They have these little things here that you do notice, especially how the dialogue just references of films, classic films, modern films. In fact, season 2 really just references a lot of different movies. I think season 1 had a dedicated episode just from the Gene Carrey, just bunch of references. Season 2 also does another episode dedicated of John McClane. So yeah, you can see this just deep diving, but of course that could easily turn you off if they try too much, and I'm afraid they kind of did sometimes, but not enough to ruin the show. It's something that you feel you can go with it or don't, because if you talk of referencing movies, you want a little bit different. You want more development, and that's when season 2 comes. They actually sort of fix a lot of things, kind of give more information about the character, understand their kind of point of views, and how they sort of grow and become a better family and friends. I think the best way to start is basically Josh himself. Josh is basically a simple man who has simple needs. He's just like having fun. Of course, he's not the smartest person in the world, but he tries. And I think he tries wherever he can, especially he wants to be the father figure. He always wants to be with her daughter. I think season 1 has, in my opinion, the best episode to shine Josh who he really is. It's a guy who really wants to be better than his father, that he thought was never there to support him. He wanted to do everything for her till someone challenged him, and you see he become more like a rival to him, or anyone who challenged him to have his needs with her daughter, to have that bonding, and also be a good husband, even that he's sort of not the best job he has. I mean, it's interesting to see how Josh sort of kind of feels useless because he doesn't have the job who pays. He feels adequate. And we see several episodes, and also the season 1 and season 2, see he's sort of understanding this is okay, but also sort of not admitting it he's okay. And you see that sort of interesting development he is. Like, and especially when people are trying to give him advice that it's okay, you have to be the rock. But what do you mean the rock? Well, you just stay there when you are needed. When you need it is when you actually shines. And I like that sort of advice because you really see Josh need that type of advice to make him a tad feel better. You're not the man who brings the meat to the house. You're the man who has to wait till your wife needs you. In those moments are the best moments. You can actually shine. In that, I really enjoy. That's a really great advice for everyone. You also have a lot of good development with Emily, because Emily, I think season 1, they trying to figure out what to do with her, because Emily, she's the mature of the two. She's person the charge, the one who brings the meat in the house, but at the same time, she doesn't know how to take a break or even say no to his own boss, because Emily is sort of a doorknob. She get used to the higher ups, but never get the credit or anything like that. But at the end, the boss are not evil. They just ask her for too much, and she never says no. You think that's maybe part of her development, but also understanding how to be a good mom, understanding there are times you have to sacrifice your me time for your own daughter, and that is also very interesting to see her sort of realizing sometimes you have to take a chill, sometimes you just have to say no and figure out the better way, and she can. And that's sort of interesting. But of course, you also have her daughter, Kansas, that I'm afraid they didn't know what to do with her the first season. That she was sort of there, but around season 2, they kind of understand what to use her, because her point of view is when she finds out, oh, we poor? I thought you have great jobs. No, we just poor and also live with your friends. We think they have it in our own home. And I like how she responded, like, oh, I want to help my parents. Like, every child with that age, or you can remember, you also will that sort of position, that sort of felt relatable to anyone, because who does not want to help your own parents, or at least have money in your own pocket? So figure out how to get some money for yourself. That was sort of interesting. You have other interesting things that Candace is not very smart. I mean, she's aware of things, but she doesn't know how to connect them, and feels stressed that she's not doing her best in school, even if she is like a 4 or 5-year-old girl. That, yeah, you could also have stress at that age. I remember also having that sort of mentality in my head. I feel I'm not efficient enough with my teachers or anything like that, and that is sort of interesting to see, because usually they forget to put the main or minor characters or little characters their point of view. And I liked about this show. This show tries to put everybody's point of view. Now, let's talk about, I think, the side characters, or in my opinion, the best 2 side characters is Alex and Bridget. Those 2 characters are very fascinating, because when you see them, they do talk about, yeah, we used to be married to each other, now we're broken, but we have to live in the same house because we don't have enough money to live for ourselves, and also trying to support their friends. And I like their sort of interesting relationship, because they're a divorced couple, and they still okay but not okay. Every time you see someone date the other person or date someone else, and you see them sort of struggling, like, yeah, this is okay, we're divorced. I mean, I don't care about her, she doesn't care about me, we're cool, we're friends, but they're not cool. They feel sort of betrayed, but once more, you forget they are not married anymore. And you see them sort of struggling back and forth, especially Alex. I feel he's the one who has maybe the best, not the best, the worst luck of his life, because he got fired for his job because he married his wife because she was a student in college. So he now fortunately have another job being a teacher, but that doesn't pay as much. He doesn't have money to buy his clothes. He has to live in the closet with his friends' stuff. So yeah, his life is pretty miserable. But at the same time, the guy was sort of happy. But you see him trying to live his life. But every time he sees his ex there, like, yeah, you can see him sort of struggling. But I think the one who has a best deal of this breakup, especially Bridget. Bridget, she's free. She doesn't have to worry about anything because she's sort of rich. Well, her family's rich. She's just basically a moocher with her own mom till they actually cut her off, and she's starting to panicking who she is or what is a real job. Yeah, luckily they do explore that. Also explore why she broke up with her husband and realizing she probably the worst person to live with because she has sort of an attitude problem. They actually focus on that a little bit more on season 2. That guys just sort of disappear. They ghost her. They just date her for 5 days and they just disappear. They stop. And Bridget trying to understand why they keep ghosting me, and she realized, well, me because you're a bitch. I mean, she's one of those sort of stuck up, but not really stuck up. It's the type of person you want to hang because she will get you back, but it's hard to stick with her. Yeah, that's the type of person Bridget really is. Also, you also find out she is sort of an influencer, but she doesn't get paid. I mean, they don't describe how she get paid. You only thing you know, she get paid by her own family. Besides that, that's basically the most cast. You have other characters, but they don't have development to talk about them. But they're there also. I'm not gonna mention them. Besides that, I really do enjoy season 2. Season 1 wasn't that good. It was sort of a struggle. Let's face it. Especially the writing. They usually do the obvious thing, like, you know, when you thinking, and you hear that phrasing before, you know what's the next answer. They usually a straight answer and a joke answer, and that's what I mean. They usually stick to the very basic and sort of hurt itself. But luckily they do fix that later on around season 2 and make it more interesting how they give the dialogue. But besides that, I have to admit I actually fell in love with this show because I really was struggling, but around season 2 they nailed it. They have that funness what regular show used to be, but they decided to make it a different way. This is season 2, in my opinion. They did that. Season 2 submit, this is what we're gonna do, we have a flow and made it work. It really is fun. In fact, I think the best episode on season 2 is the final episode. They found this magical unicorn or horse that can fix your life, make your day the greatest day in your life. And I love the horse because it's kind of fat and chunky, and his face have this look like I'm high look, like I'm high all day look, like what it's kind of hilarious how they draw this horse. You know, love that everybody has their moment with this magical horse, make their day, but they all ask themselves, this horse even exists? Because a lot of weird things happen. And you kind of question if this thing exists or not. The running gag, they find out it's real. It's just like to make people happy. Besides that, I just enjoyed, especially all the references they did of all the movies, and also especially regular show. You have like one movie they show a lunchbox of regular show, like whoa, that's great. But at the same time, I'm wondering regular show any character will appear on this show, or at least besides a lunchbox. But besides that, I really got nothing really else to say. Just one question: do you like this series? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got really nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day.